Hey, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. This is another edition of the Overtime Sports Show coming to you live on a fine Tuesday evening. This is episode number 24. Some people call me Grossy. Some people call me Gigi. You can call me whatever you'd like. My co-host on the other side, some people call him DOB. Some people call him Dauber. Whatever you do, don't call him a Sox fan. As always, we start the show with an epic hat reveal, and I think my man, like usual, has something special planned for me, so I'm not going to waste any time. Dan, floor is yours.
Yes. Fresh off a great weekend that we had. We'll talk about that later in the show. But without further ado, I got special stuff, so I'm going to go black here for about 15 seconds, and then I'll be right back.
Anticipation is killing me. I wish we had this set up to do a little bit of a drum roll. But Dan's going in the dark for a minute, and then he's going to do this reveal. Can't wait.
All righty.
Let's see it. Okay.
Oh, yeah? You see what it is?
I can see it. Is that a PGA Tour hat?
This is a TPC Sawgrass hat, and this is a TPC Sawgrass shirt.
Very nice.
For the players. It's actually the biggest event in Northeast Florida, so I figured I would rep it.
Love it. How did you pull that out of your bag of tricks?
Well, I got this hat like 5 years ago, realized that I had it, and then actually longer than that. And then this shirt, I got it when I used to work for the coffee company before Ready Ice. We sponsored it with some coffee, and one of the guys got me a shirt, and I was like, oh, shoot, I have this shirt, so let me put it on. So, yeah, it's nice and fresh, TPC Sawgrass. You can see it right here. It's a Nike one, and, yeah, rocking and rolling, dude. I figured I'd pull it out.
I like that a lot. I like the coordination between the hat, the shirt. They go together, the logo. You need to wear that hat on the course more. I've never seen you wear that before when we play.
Yeah, no, I need to. I realized I had it the other day, and I'm like, oh, shoot, we're doing a players episode, so might as well rep it, dude.
Yeah, I mean, obviously anybody, I guess, could technically have that hat. But, I mean, to me, I would be like you. I would only rep that hat, really, if I've been there. I've never been to TPC. Yep. I've never played it. I've never watched it. I know you have, and that's pretty cool. It's kind of like, I see guys sometimes when I'm out there on the course and they have a Masters hat or something, and I assume that they've went, and obviously that's a private event. It's sort of exclusive. And TPC, it's not easy. I mean, tickets are what? Pretty expensive this year. $100, $120.
Yeah, $120. I mean, I'm trying to exhaust all my contacts that I know in Jacksonville, North Florida, St. Augustine area. It's not looking good, but it's only Tuesday.
Yeah.
But it makes this hat unique too. I'll show you something real quick.
Let me see.
So see the back, see the logo.
Yep.
So
awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good looking shirt. Well done.
So
before the show, you said I might have an idea about a few things. I don't know whether it's the hats, your beers, or whatever. I never have an idea. I truly don't. I never know what to expect, and I like that. You keep me on.
That's the plan, my man. That's the plan.
So hope the listeners out there enjoy it as well. So good stuff. Oh, yeah. In light of this, I had every intention to start the show with in a different direction, but screw it. We don't stick to a script on this show. So I want to stay with the golf theme because last show we made it a little bit special. We were talking a little bit about the Arnold Palmer. We put a little bit of a friendly wager on it. We each took a golfer that we thought was going to win it all. I took my boy JT because it looks like a dear friend of mine, or he looks like a dear friend of mine, rather.
Yep.
Adam Young, fan of the show. He fared pretty well. He didn't win the whole thing, but between you and I, he was the better of the two. I want to say he finished -3. Not too bad. I mean, he was 12th overall, if memory serves me right. And he was really in the running for a little bit. There was just a couple guys who were exceptional, and we'll get to them in a minute. But I guess I get bragging rights for a week or so because my boy was a little bit better than yours. You had Hovland, who, was in the mix for a little bit. I think Saturday, both of our guys were tied. I want to say they were 4 under.
Yep.
Was setting up for a pretty good final round, and your boy Hovland just kind of fell apart. I don't know if you saw anything that actually happened to him, if he had any water shots or just wasn't playing his best golf, but I think he finished +2.
I did see this one golfer. I don't know why I brought this up. You maybe bring it up, but somebody shot a 12. I don't know if you saw that. Did you?
Oof. Oof, I didn't see that. Who was that?
I knew that was going to come up. Players a 12.
Wow. I'm sure it was a par 5, hopefully.
Jake Knapp
Okay.
shot a 12th on the 6th hole at the Arnold Palmer. They called it a sip textual or something. Hold on. They had a name for it. It was something odd, funky.
So he finished dead last of the guys who made the cut.
Yeah, Jake Knapp.
Oddly enough, he was even on the final round. He was even in round 4.
Yeah.
So maybe he shot his 12 in round 2 or 3?
A septuple bogey. septuple bogey. That's what they call it. A septuple.
It had to have been round 3, I'm guessing, because if it was one of the first 2 rounds, he probably wouldn't have made the cut. Right?
It was Saturday morning. So they said Saturday morning on hole 6. Yeah, he shot a 12.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it goes without saying, I would think, but you just can't have something like that. And it's just too much ground to make up because, I mean, him and, was it Sam Straka? I forget his first name, but him and Straka were tied for dead last, 57th at plus 12. And List was plus 10, just ahead of them. And then from there, one guy at plus 8, a few at plus 6. So they were far and away the worst guys. And it just goes to show you one hole can kill you. I mean, even journeyman golfers like you and I who are just out there having fun, good day. We're lucky to break 195, whatever it is, 90 on a good day. It's just that one hole that can ruin it. I call it the blow up hole.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We all have one. Sometimes we have 2, one on the front 9, one on the back 9, but just a certain hole will kill you. That poor guy, man, that's brutal.
Yeah, it sucks, but I figured that was an interesting stat to throw out there.
Yeah. So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed doing what we did. It just makes it a little fun to watch a golfer go through it. And they, Thomas anyway, was kind of in the running. Like I said, finished tied for 12th. There was a couple guys with him at -3, but how about Scheffler, man? Winning the whole thing, -15 in first place, and Clark second place, 5 strokes back at -10. I mean, Scheffler just is blowing away the competition. Just it seems like almost every week.
He's a hell of a golfer. I mean, he's number 1 in the world for a reason. He won, I want to say he won like 5 or 6 last year. He's actually the defending champion at the Players. I don't know if you knew that, but he won the Players last year. So everybody knows it's hard to repeat at the Players, and it's hard to repeat on the PGA Tour. So I'll give you, not to get too further, I know we got a big show with football and some basketball and hockey and baseball, but I'll give you the floor if you want to pick your guy for this week, and then we can kind of make it fun again.
Yeah. So there's something I wanted to bring up, and it's totally putting you on the spot. You let me know if you agree or not. But in the interest of making this a little more fair and interesting, what do you say as we're picking these guys each week? Nobody's allowed to pick the winner of the previous week's tournament, whether it's major or whatever. You can't pick the previous winner unless, of course, it happens to be your guy that you picked. Then you could run it back.
Oh, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So if I picked right now, Scheffler is the defending champ from this past week. Neither one of us can pick him to win the Players, which I think is fitting because of what you just said. He's probably going to be the front runner. Now, let's say I pick Shane Lowry, right? And he ends up winning the Players. I can go ahead and pick him the following week as well because he was my guy.
Yeah, that works for me.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, cool.
I like it. Make it a little.
I'll give you the floor. I'll give you the floor.
So yeah, this is interesting. A lot of guys to go for, man. It's just, I think this is like the last few years. I think this is the deepest, most competitive golf's been in
it
a
always
long
is.
time. I mean, even going back to when Tiger was dominant in the early 2000s, he had a great stretch, and there were some guys who he was competitive with, but it just seems like there's just so many names. I mean, you have a few usual suspects, obviously Scheffler, but it's one of those things. Almost any given Sunday, I feel like equally applies to football as it does golf. So give me just 1 second to peruse this list. I won't spend too much time on it, but I want to be a little precise with my choice. I think I'm going to go he didn't have a great round 4, but he fared well overall in the tournament this past week. I'm going to go Matsuyama.
Matsuyama, okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
I've
That's
seen
good.
him play last year. I saw him. I think he won a couple, maybe 1 or 2 tournaments. He seems like he can get dialed in. So I'm going to go Matsuyama with this one. I
Okay.
don't know if
Yep.
he's ever won the players, but he's my pick.
Yeah, he has not won it. I'm looking at the list right here. I have all the way back from 209. So I'm going to go with a previous winner back in 2019. I'm going to go Rory McIlroy. And the reason
Okay.
why like I said, he won 4 years ago, or he won 5 years ago, and he knows this course, and he always plays this course really well. So I think I'm going to go with Rory. He's been playing good. I think he's still top 5 in the world ranking.
Yep.
And he's he's been kind of the face of the PGA Tour with all this live crap going on. He's kind of been defiant, and he's kind of said, I'm staying with the PGA Tour no matter what, and all these live guys can suck it. So I
Yep.
think it'd be really cool for him to win, especially since this is kind of like the PGA Tour's signature event because they call it the Players.
Yeah.
So I think he's got a little extra oomph, and I'm going to go with Rory.
I like it.
Yeah.
We spent some time together in person this past weekend, and you mentioned that Rory is your favorite, right? Pretty sure
He's one of my favorites. I mean, I just like what he did. We were watching Full Swing Friday night after we got back from the bar, and I told you that story about him, how he's just been really cool, and I like that he's just really stood up, and it's just been really cool.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Eric, who our buddy that we also spent time with this weekend. Rory was his favorite. If
I thought he likes Ricky. Ricky's his boy. I thought
Ricky. Somebody told me Rory was their favorite. I thought it was you. I don't know.
I mean, it was me. I mean, I like him. I like a lot of guys, but I mean,
Yeah.
I just like what he's been doing for the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I told you. So yeah,
Gotcha.
I'm going to go with him.
I like it. I like it a lot. I'm looking at just the event. It's kind of nice that it takes place on, I guess, a holiday weekend, in my opinion. Obviously, we got St. Patty's Day on Sunday.
Of course, it's a
There'll
holiday.
be a lot going on, and your boy Rory, Irish roots. Maybe he wins the tournament on a special day.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at the purse, man. $25 million. That's a lot of money. Yep. And I made the mistake. You heard me and corrected me this past weekend when I referred to it as a major, and it's not.
Well, they always call it the 5th major, quote unquote.
Right.
That's what they always go for. Yeah.
It's just amazing that it's. I think that's the highest purse out of any tournament on the tour, but it's not even a major, which is just kind of weird. But should be a good one. Beautiful course. Weather should be beautiful this time of year. If you get to go, I'm going to be pretty jealous.
Yeah, I've been not to toot my own horn, but I've been 5 or 6 times, and you always go there and you always get a couple beers and just hang out by the 17th hole because that's a spectacle in itself. I mean, I've sat there for hours upon end and you just watch these guys hit it, and it either goes in the water or it gets close to the green, or like I said, it goes over. So it's a really cool spectacle, and it's fun because 16, 17, and 18 is one of the hardest grueling 3 holes in golf. 16 is a par 5, 17 obviously is a par 3, and 18 is a par 5. So you go back to back to back, and that's where a lot of guys win and lose the championship.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a really cool course. They do a good job. I mean, it's a signature event, so it's going to be top notch. So like I said, I'm exhausted. All my people I know, I'm trying. Don't believe me, I'm trying.
I hope it works out for you. I'll be going to my first professional golf event the weekend after to the Valspar. So I'm looking forward to that. I don't know who exactly is going to be there. I hear that last year a couple of the big names didn't go for whatever reason. Maybe everybody's worn out from playing the Arnold Palmer and the Players, and they want to save themselves for the Masters in April. I guess I could understand that to a degree, but it kind of goes back to what we mentioned. I think last show we spent some time on it about the point system. I think there should be more emphasis on getting these guys playing consistently and not have necessarily the option to just pick and choose which ones they want to play in. But that's neither here nor there. We spent enough time on that. So
so it's going to be a fun weekend, and hopefully my boy Rory comes out. It's not to repeat myself, it'll just be a monumental win for the PGA Tour because like I said, he's been gung ho on it, and that's really, really cool of him to do that. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I enjoy Full Swing too. That's a good documentary. I haven't watched more than I think the second episode, which you and I were watching. Have you watched more than it?
No, I got home, late Sunday, and then yesterday was just getting stuff going for the week, and then
Yeah.
today we got the show. So maybe this weekend, or we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Same. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, we got a lot of stuff to cover. I think it'll be difficult to squeeze it into one show, so we'll just
Yeah, my
keep
fault on
things
that, but I thought
moving.
it'd be cool to talk about the players. So
Yeah, absolutely. No, completely agreed. I wanted to touch golf, but we'll switch gears and keep things moving. Talk a little bit of football. There was obviously a lot of big news that went down yesterday. NFL free agency kind of in full gear now, and I don't know about you, but in my opinion, I can't really remember a day that saw as many big names take trade places or end up in new destinations than what we saw yesterday. And it's easy to say that every year. It's always exciting, and maybe there was the same amount of volume in some years, but I just think there probably were lesser players in past years. But what we saw yesterday, I mean, it was just a who's who of the NFL. I mean, all positions around, receiver, running back, quarterback, even on the defensive side of the ball. It just seemed like every 20, 30 minutes, my phone was dinging about this guy went here, this guy went there, this guy went there. Like, I was just like, wow, I cannot keep up at all. I mean, is it just me, or did you feel that way too?
no, I felt the exact same way as well. I mean, we, Weatherly, or Eric, that we call him Weatherly, over the past weekend, he said it's going to be a big Monday. And friend of the show, Ryan Clogs, he also mentioned it's going to be a big Monday. But right now they call it the what, quote unquote, tampering period. So I guess they can't technically sign the contracts, but they can negotiate and they can agree with them. But yeah, I think this is the craziest one that I've seen in probably ever. I mean, since I've been very big into sports. And I don't
Yeah.
know about you, but like you said, yeah, every single minute I was getting a ding, or you were texting me, or Eric was texting me, or Ryan was texting me.
Well,
But yeah, it was
just
crazy.
look at the names here for a second. I got the list up, I think. So, like, quarterback, I mean, everybody had their eyes on Russell Wilson for a while. It's trying to, once they realized he wasn't coming back to the Broncos, he ends up with the Steelers, obviously. Everybody had their eyes on Kirk Cousins as well. Big
Yep.
name leaving Minnesota. He ends up with the Falcons, a pretty massive contract. Of course, we know kind of Baker had re-upped, I think, a few days earlier with the Bucks. He was one of the few that didn't change teams. It seems like I was looking over the list trying to spot guys who re-upped with their former team, and there was not many of them at all. I mean, so here's the list of quarterbacks that changed teams. You've got Cousins, you've got Wilson, Minshew, Brissett, Winston, Taylor, Darnold, Locke.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking at. That's 8 big names right now. Keep in mind, every team has a starter, every team has a backup. Some have 3, but for all intents and purposes, there's 64 of these guys, right? At most, at best. I just named 8 of them, and there's probably more. That's 1/8 of the league that switched teams just yesterday alone. And some of them really big names. And like I said, it wasn't just quarterback. Look at the running backs. Josh
Yep.
Jacobs, household name. Derrick
Yep.
Henry, household name. Tony Pollard, Austin Eckler, DeAndre Swift, Singletary, Edwards, Moss. I mean, what is going on? Just like
Yeah.
everybody just jumping ship. And I'm wondering, I want your opinion on this. I mean, do you think it's a matter of there's no more loyalty in sports or the NFL? Do you think it's guys, everybody wants their bag, everybody wants their big payday? I mean, what do you attribute this to, and everybody moving teams?
So I think it's a little bit of everything. I was watching Sports Center tonight and listening to Boomer and Geo, yesterday and today. And if you look at these numbers for the running backs, they're a lot, but they're not that much. I mean, if you look at it, I mean, Saquon Barkley, 37 million, Jacobs, 48 million, Henry, 16 million, Pollard, 24 million, Eckler, 11 million, Swift, 24 million, Singletary, 16 and a half, Gus Edwards, 6.5, Zach Moss, 8, Antonio Gibson, 11. So a lot of these guys, what they were saying on Sports Center is the reason why so many running backs got signed is because their number went down drastically. I mean, if you remember last year and the year before that, running backs are asking for 20, 25 million a year. And, the highest guy right here is 4 years. Jacobs getting 48 million. That's 12 million, 8 million for Henry, not 8 million for Pollard. What was it? about 11 and a half for Saquon. I mean, 11 and a half was the most money that got brought out by Saquon, the three at
I'm,
37.
I'm glad you brought that up with
Yeah.
Saquon because I was sitting there looking over the exact same thing, the term and the dollar amount. And if you recall, if I recall correctly, Saquon was wanting 20 or 22 or something like that per year. Pretty
Yeah.
ridiculous number. And he
Yep.
wasn't alone. There was other guys that were wanting similar compensation, but he ended up getting, I want to say 13, 14, 12, I don't know, somewhere in the 12 to 14 range, I think, is what he ended up getting from the Giants for 1 year when they
Yep.
put that franchise tag on him. And now I'm glad I'm not going crazy here, but I saw what you saw. I'm like,
Yeah. Like
once
12 and a half.
Barkley was gone and I knew we weren't bringing him back, I kind of said good riddance. So I'll be honest, I didn't really care where he ended up, but now we're doing the show and I'm looking it over and I see that he signed 3 years, 37 million. I'm
Yeah. It's
not a
like
math
12 and a
witch.
half. Yeah. It's like 12 and a half or so.
12 mil. He's
Yeah.
getting less than what the Giants gave him. So I
Yep.
think that's a huge twist of irony. I mean, he's got to feel. I personally, I hope he feels humbled because, in my personal opinion, he came off as a bit of a jackass
Yeah.
during
You did.
negotiations. And again, not saying he wasn't alone. And I'll never fault someone for wanting their bag, but there's a way to go about it. And he made some pretty nasty comments about the Giants, which I also think was pretty incredible and awkward when he made those comments because he made them before he had his contract. I think he said F the New York Giants or something to that effect. And then he goes and finishes the season with them last year. Like if I couldn't imagine saying something like that to my employer or about
Oh,
my
right. Yeah. Exactly.
continuing
Exactly.
to go to work every day. Like,
Yeah.
just an awkward situation. But I thought it was really ironic that he ended up getting less per year than he was with the Giants. Going to be interesting to see how he does with the Eagles. He's when he's healthy, he's a bell cow. I think if he can stay on the field, he'll probably do well. But one of the reasons I ended up trading DeAndre Swift on my fantasy team last year is because it's just too much of a crowded backfield there in Philly. When you had Swift, Gainwell, Boston Scott, and then of
Yep.
course Hurts runs the
Earth's gonna
ball
run
a
it. Yeah.
lot
Exactly. Yep.
when he's
Exactly.
close to the goal line. So you got 4 guys that are trying to share the rock. What is Barkley going to do when he's on the team? So I don't know if he's going to be happy. Maybe it will work out for him because they can use other guys and Barkley won't be relied upon so much like he was with the Giants. And maybe they just ran him into the ground. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean the same thing. I mean we watched them. You're a little bit bigger Giants fan than I am, but I'm still a Giants fan. I still follow them just as much as you do. And we mentioned it last show. He just can't stay on the field. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's gonna have a huge year with them, but he played at Penn State, so maybe he's gonna be going home and he's gonna feel inspired because he's gonna go back to the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know, but we'll see what happens with them. I wanted to touch on Kirk Cousins. I took a Facebook screenshot today. So I don't know if you saw his contracts and his guaranteed money from 2016 all the way to 2024. So I'm going to read off his guaranteed money and then I'm going to read off a total. So 2016, he got 19.9 guaranteed. 2017, 23.9 guaranteed. 2018, 84 million guaranteed. 2020, 66 million guaranteed. 2022, 35 million guaranteed. And this contract that he signed yesterday, 100 million guaranteed. So that means from 2000 all the way through 2027, he's going to have 411 career earnings, and he has 1 playoff win in 12 years.
Yeah, that's
so that's a wild stat that I thought I'd wanted to mention today because, I mean, it really speaks measurements for him betting on himself because a lot of those years, if you remember correctly, in Washington, he did the franchise tag and bet on himself and got 19 million 1 year, then 23 million, and then 84 million in a 5-year span. I mean, that's wild.
So how old is Cousins? Do you have that handy?
36 years old.
He's 36. Oh my God. I was going to guess 32. Wow. What are they thinking?
And don't forget, that's not a young age. I mean,
No,
35
that's
years
what it
old.
means.
He'll be
It's not
36 in
at all.
August. So when the season starts, he'll be 36. Yeah, so he's
It's
35 right now. Yep.
That's exactly what I meant. It's not young at all.
Yeah,
Like
I know. It's
a
crazy.
4-year contract with 100 guaranteed, and the guy's going to be 36 this year.
Yeah. It's wild.
Does every team think that quarterbacks not only play till 40 or beyond, but excel? Because we know Brady did that, and he was pretty damn good post 40. But you're talking about a once in a blue moon kind of specimen. Guys like Brady don't come around more than once in a century, half century. I mean, we all thought Joe Montana was the best, or Peyton Manning, or Dan Marino. A lot of
Yep.
those guys are in very much the same conversation, but it's pretty clear. I mean, no matter who you ask, Brady is above all those guys now. And not everybody's like him. Like, I don't know if they think Cousins is going to get better these next 4 years. He may stay the same. I don't know, but there's a solid chance, in my opinion, that he regresses. Guys, we're that age. We know, like, when you approach 40, you're not running as fast. You're not throwing the ball as hard. You're feeling the hits a lot more.
Plus,
So
he's coming off of an Achilles too. So I mean,
yeah,
one gingery move, he can snap that Achilles again. So it's
yeah.
not 100%. And I know it's
I
just crazy. There was another stat too that I wanted to bring out, that these contracts that people are giving out. So Cousins, obviously 4-year 180. Christian Watkins with the Raiders, 110. Robert Hunt with the Panthers, he's a guard, 100. Jonathan Greenard, 4 for 76, and Xavier McKinney, 4 for 68.
yeah,
So the thing that I heard this year, for this year's free agency on Boomer and Geo and on Sports Center, they were saying, like I said earlier, that the running back value has come down, and now the value is on the line, on offense and defense, and the wide receiver position, and that's what they're showing. They're just saying that's the new uppity in high demand, because those are
yeah.
skill positions. You got offensive line, defensive line, wide receiver, still quarterback, obviously, but those three new positions are where the money's at, and you can obviously see with the signings.
Yeah. Yeah, it's those skill positions. You mentioned one thing. Some of the skill positions, I was upset that the Giants lost Xavier McKinney. Going to be kind of big shoes to fill, but we made a trade that
Yeah,
you
dude's a stud too, by the way. Brian Burns.
yeah, brought in Burns, from the Panthers. They had franchise tagged him, and we traded for him. 1 year, 24 mil. It's a lot, but supposedly he's pretty great. I haven't looked up his stats to see,
Oh, he's a
how
beast.
many sacks and tackles he's had, but we needed some help up front. I am of the opinion that a lot of the battles are won in the trenches, offensive line, defensive line. I witnessed it firsthand, seeing 2 Super Bowls in 07 and 11 with the
Yep.
Giants. Taking nothing away from Manning, who I love, and give him a lot of credit for being a clutch player. But I think most people know and would agree that the defensive line for the Giants and their backfield, the defense as a whole, had a lot to do with those Super Bowls. So I'm excited to see what Burns brings for the Giants next year. They definitely needed some help there.
Yeah, and then the continue to have Kevon Thibodeau. If he continues to improve, you have
Exactly.
right and left rushers coming. I mean, Thibodeau towards the end of the year, he had a great year, and like I
Yep.
said, this guy Brian Burns, he's a beast. He's still pretty young. He's been in the league, I want to say 3-4 years out of Florida State, so he was a standout at Florida State.
Yeah.
And he didn't give up too much. I think what was it, a 6-rounder? I think that was about
Yeah.
it. Yeah, so it's not like you paid the book for him.
Yeah.
But
Hey, we got some breaking news. This is probably coming live on the show here, of all things, but we want to pop up on the screen for just a moment. The Dallas Cowboys are signing nobody. You heard it here first. Dallas
Yep.
Cowboys signing nobody. I want to
Yep.
surprise you for a minute there, Dan.
Oh man, I'm
I saw
devastated.
that meme. It's not a new one, but it actually resurfaced just in time from a friend of mine. And I
Yep.
wanted to mention it just because when I saw the meme, it kind of made me think for a second that really haven't heard much about the Cowboys right now.
I mean, they lost Pollard. That's about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The only time you really heard them was not for a good thing. Pollard was only really the lead running back, I think, for what, 2, maybe 3 years since Zeke's been gone, whatever that's been.
Well, Zeke was gone last year, his first year gone, but before that, yeah, about 2.5 years, probably Pollard was the lead
Right.
stud. Yeah.
Yeah. Hasn't been very long, in my opinion. And now he's already gone. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in their backfield. It just got me thinking. Obviously, we all know how they flamed out in the playoffs this past postseason, which again was music to my ears as a Giants fan.
Yep,
and
me too.
I just wondering if that's starting to spread around the league. And you got to wonder maybe if Jerry Jones has something to do with it. I mean, he's a guy who likes things a certain way, I think, has a certain vision, but he's not getting any younger. And I'm just wondering if Dallas is not really the destination that it once was. I'm kind of curious your thoughts, if I'm making too much of it, or maybe if there's something to be said there.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. Look at what they've been doing. I mean, they had a coach for a long time in Jason Garrett, and then they fired him, and they've had Dak Prescott for what, 6-7 years now, and he's just been a mediocre quarterback. And pretty much his son Stephen Jones, he's pretty much running about 80% of that organization. Jerry Jones is still obviously, he's got his 20%, and he's still going to give his word in. But Stephen Jones, he's like the general manager and the president. So I think you're spot on. I mean, a lot of people, maybe they don't like how he runs his system. I heard an article last week when I was driving down that one of the tight end who went to the Texans, I don't know if you saw this, Dalton Schultz, he said that playing in Dallas was like playing in a zoo, because what happened was they would be working out and people would be giving tours and they'd be knocking on the window while these dudes are working out. And it's just like, is it more of a spectacle or is it more of football? And a lot of these guys maybe don't want to be bothered like that. They want to play football and not get bothered by a tour or people trying to make it a spectacle. They want to play football. So to go to your point, that might be a case. And like I said, Dalton Schultz really has nothing to lose. I mean, he's going to speak from the heart. I believe that's what he said. I believe him, So crazy stuff.
It is. I like I said, I love to see it.
I love to see it too, man. It's
I
great.
think the Giants are going to have a tough time next year. They still got a lot of work to do. We'll see what they do with a somewhat high draft pick. But it's nice to see that Dallas maybe is taking a step back too, because I think with Barkley going and wearing green now, we know how the Eagles started last year. They started out 10-1 or something. For most of the early part of the season, they were arguably the best number one. They came crashing and burning the back half of the season, which was also music to my ears as a Giants fan. But it's hard to imagine that. I think when the season rolls around in August, September, the initial feeling is probably going to be KC 1, San Fran 2, Eagles 3, or maybe Eagles 1, KC 2, San Fran. There's something like that. It would be my order based on some of these transactions.
Yeah, so I remember a couple weeks ago when we did our after Super Bowl show, I said that we were going, early who we liked, and I said Kansas City for a third straight year, and I said that their key component would be re-signing Chris Jones, and they re-signed him to a massive deal.
Yeah,
I think he's now the highest paid defensive tackle, so that just goes on my point. I'm going to keep him number one, as you were saying. I mean, that was my key component was they had to re-sign Chris Jones, and they re-signed Chris Jones.
Yeah. Interesting stuff. We're past usually the halfway point of our show. You want to take a little break and drink some beers?
Yeah, let's do it, buddy.
Awesome. Anybody out there listening live, Overtime Sports Show, we're going to take just a few minute break, come back with our beer segment, so make sure you stick with us.
Yeah.
Time to drink some beers.
Yeah, buddy. Yes, sir.
Because of my notes that some viewers like your boy Jeff and Creason said, don't refer back. I do know that I went first last week, so I'm going to give you the stage.
Okay. So I want you. This might be the best show that I've had spot on references. So you'll see when I show this beer. But just want to go ahead and throw it out there. So right here, what we got is Three Sons Brewing, if you can see. It's
Yeah.
McGlory's. It's an Irish red ale for St. Patty's Day on Sunday.
Okay.
It's from Three Sons Brewing Company. It's out of Dania Beach, Florida. And I've actually been to this brewery with a friend of the show, Chris Dolan. We've mentioned him a bunch of times. And I was buying my beer tonight, and I was like, oh, shoot, St. Patty's Day is Sunday. Let me go ahead and get an Irish red. And I believe it's my first Irish red of the show. So I'm actually really pumped about it. But
yeah, that something doesn't seem quite right about that, because I had that Irish red several weeks back.
No, my first Irish red.
I know. I'm saying,
Yeah,
how did I have an Irish beer before you?
Well, because I did it, that's very special because of St. Patty's Day.
Okay.
So,
Right.
and I got my TPC hat and shirt and an Irish beer. So I think it's the really good stuff here. But oh, you look at that color.
We know it's going to be better than your beer last week. That's a given.
Oh, anything was better than that, dude.
That one was brutal.
Gosh, it was horrible.
Yeah.
That's got a nice color. I don't know if you can see already.
I can. Definitely looks like a traditional red.
Oh, yeah. Look at that. It looks like a Killian's Irish Red. You ever heard of Killian's Irish Red?
I've had a Killian's probably within the last year or two. And I think at the time it might have been my first time trying them, because I took a sip and I loved it. It was really, really good.
So just off the nose, it's very similar to what a Killian's Irish Red smells like, because going off of this, what it says, let me see if it's got a description. Yeah, no description, just says Irish Red Ale. So let me go ahead and give it a flavor sip.
ABV.
4.8%.
Okay.
Oh, wow. You're going to give me a hard time with that one.
You almost didn't say it.
Man, that's good. Wow. That's an 8.3 right there, my friend. That is delicious.
Okay.
And I put it in the freezer too, so it's extra cold. Oh yeah.
Wow. Okay. What was the ABV?
4.8.
4.8. Okay.
That's delicious.
Right. 3. I like it.
That is delicious. I would definitely buy that again. I might get it again for this weekend.
I'm kind of a little jealous. I wish I would have gotten a red myself as well, actually.
Well, you got to think outside the box, man. I was all together today.
Yeah, that was my fault.
TPC hat, TPC shirt, and Irish beer.
And I think we kind of get our beers in a similar fashion. We'll make a trip to whatever store it is and kind of get them in bulk. So I usually have at least 3 or 4 beers in advance. So
yeah, I'm going like 3 at a time. I did 3 tonight, and I did 3 weeks ago. So I think 3 at a time.
I usually do 4, so I know I'm good for like a month. But
yep.
So anyway, I might have a beer that could be as bad as yours was last week. Yeah.
Oh man.
Maybe not. But it's that out there. Never heard of it before, but I'm interested in trying new things. I might have heard of the brewery. So have you ever heard of Dewclaw?
Yep, I've had Sweet Baby Jesus. It's delicious.
Okay. Well, now you got me excited. This is Sweet Baby Banana.
So I've had a banana bread beer before, and it's delicious. Okay. So you'll probably like it if you like banana.
I hope so. I can't believe Dewclaw looked familiar. I've never been. I don't know if I've had any of the beers from them. Definitely, I'm not typically
Are they from Maryland?
Guy. Are they from Maryland?
Yeah, they are. I did a beer episode.
Wait,
4
this
or 5.
says Dewclaw Brewing, Ewing, New Jersey.
I got this Dewclaw Brewing craft beer from Baltimore.
And are you spelling it Duclaw?
Yep.
Oh, well, maybe it's just bottled at a different place, because this says Dewclaw Brewing Company, Ewing, New Jersey. But I don't know. Yeah, I'm trusting you. I mean, you knew of them and you looked them up. So at any rate, this is a chocolate peanut butter banana porter.
That sounds amazing, by the way.
6.2%.
Yep, there it is right here. I'm looking at it right now. 6.2%. It's a chocolate peanut butter banana porter. It's got Chinook hops. It's a black color. The Sweet Baby Jesus is delicious.
Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It looks like motor oil coming out of it.
Yep, that's how the Sweet Baby Jesus sounds too, or is too. Nice pour. Really good cups, my dude.
Wow, I don't even have to get close to it, and I can smell it. I can smell it.
You're going to be happy with this one, my man.
I can smell it all. I mean,
yep, you're going to be happy.
Peanut butter is just whiffing at me. The banana's there too.
Yep, you should like it.
Wow. All right. Well, Bottoms up.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, wow.
There you are.
I had to give that to you. Wow. That is, I mean, it's everything they said.
I told you it would be. They're really good with their beer, and they're
Let me
really good
get
with
another
prescriptive.
sip before I try to rate it. It's pretty good. I'll be honest. I'm trying not to let my particular palate and taste buds reflect or interfere with a impartial rating. But at the end of the day, you know, we like what we like.
Yeah.
This one, I'm gonna go a straight even 8.0.
Okay.
It's
Pretty high.
yeah, it's pretty high because I could drink this. I'm just not naturally a big porter stout kind of guy, but you know, if I was at a place and that was what they catered to and all they had, I could drink them. Like it's definitely tasty. All the notes are there. Like I said, the chocolate, peanut butter, the banana, and it's pretty well balanced. So if you're a fan of those, give them a try. I think you'll like it. Not normally my go-to, but a solid beer all around. So
Yeah, they do a good job. Like I said, I've had that Baby Jesus. It's pretty good.
what type of beer was the Baby Jesus?
Same as yours. It's just the chocolate peanut butter. It doesn't have banana in it, so it's a chocolate peanut butter porter.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting. All right. Cheers.
Cheers, buddy. Oh yeah. Damn, that's delicious.
There you go. Yeah, this one
Wow,
is growing
good.
on me.
That's good.
It's definitely a nice dessert beer.
Yeah, buddy.
Gonna turn the page for a moment. Got some time left. We can squeeze a couple things in, but I think we should talk a little bit of baseball because you and I spent some time
Yeah.
together in person this past weekend. Hit a couple of our favorite pastimes, our spring training games that we like to do. It's become an annual thing for us. And you know, hopefully you feel the same way. But I had a phenomenal time.
Oh man, I wish you could do it every weekend. I love spring training
It
baseball.
is that much fun.
Yeah.
We went to the Detroit Tigers park in Lakeland, and you had been there before. You mentioned that stadium wasn't maybe the nicest in the past, but they had put quite a bit of money into it. I think it was visible
Yeah,
to
Publix.
you know what it looked like before.
Yep.
It was even visible to me having not been there. You could still tell, you know, what's new and where they really put some money. So just a really nice ballpark. Obviously, the weather was great. The game was great. We made it interesting by picking some players and making little friendly bets. But as we mentioned before, the last show or two, can't emphasize enough what a great time it is. You know, you get sort of up close and personal and intimate look at some of your favorite players.
Yep.
In a pretty small environment. The tickets are usually pretty reasonable. We found that this year, compared to most, they were a bit higher for whatever reason. Maybe it's just inflation. I don't know. But all in all, it was still a great time. Wanted to give a shout out to a couple people that we met along the way. On Sunday, we went to the Pirates game in Bradenton, former McKechnie Field. Now it's Lecom Park. Great ballpark. Been there many times.
So have I. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been there as well. But as you and I both like to do, part of the fun for us going to these games is going to local bars, restaurants in cities that we don't frequent that often. You know, I've lived in Bradenton for a very long time and around there, so I know the area pretty well. But still, even me and for you, we were able to find a new place that I'd never been before. We were looking for a brunch spot. And we stumbled into I think they call it the quote unquote arts district in Bradenton.
Yep.
Anybody in this area that's been there before might know it. Not far from the park. In fact, we Ubered to where we had breakfast and then we walked to the baseball game after. So that tells you how close it was. But we stumbled upon a local joint called Cottonmouth Soul Food and Kitchen, I think it was the name.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
had a great time. The food was excellent.
Top notch.
Prices were reasonable, and the people we met, were even better. I can't remember the guy who waited on us, but awesome guy who chatted with us for a while we ate. Great conversation, and we even got to meet the owner. I got his card here.
Yeah, owner slash Steph. Yeah.
Dave Shiplett. We were looking for a spot. This was a Sunday mid to late morning, so I
Yep.
thought a lot of places would be open, but we were looking at some. They were either weren't open on Sunday, which is just bizarre. They didn't open until Monday, Tuesday, or they opened at 11 or 12. We caught these guys just before they opened, and the owner was nice enough to let us sit out back while he was warming up the grill in the kitchen. Had a couple drinks. As I mentioned, the food was great, and the hospitality was even better. So big shout out to Dave Shiplett and Soul Food Kitchen in downtown Bradenton. It was an awesome time, and we also met Reverend Robert Reynolds, who was about to play. We didn't get to hear him live, but he was setting up his guitar and his stage. He does some traveling live music, and we got to chat with him while we ate for, I would say, a good half hour.
Yep.
We wanted to give him a personal shout out. Hopefully he'll be checking us out and listening to us. He said he was a
big baseball guy too.
Big baseball guy, big podcast fan. So Rev, we really enjoyed the conversation with you. If you're listening, it was amazing. We hope if you're on the road now, you're safe traveling to wherever you're headed. But we appreciate the conversation very much. That was awesome, Dan. That was one of the highlights. The baseball was great. Hanging out with our buddy Eric.
On Saturday,
meeting people like that, man, and just getting out, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, just to elaborate on what you were saying. I mean, we were looking for a place. We actually went to, I forgot the name of the place, some biscuit breakfast place, and we put our name down. Yeah, Sage Biscuit. Not to give them a shout out because we didn't get to eat there, but that's here nor there. But we sat down and they said it was gonna be a 35-minute wait, and I looked at you, looked at me, and I'm like, I don't mind walking. So we walked to this Cottonmouth place and get there at like 10:45. Owner says, "Yeah, come on in and have some fun. Come on, have a seat out back." We meet Reverend Rob, and start talking. You had the chicken and waffles, and I had the shrimp and grits.
So good.
I remember you made the face, and you're like, "I don't know if I'm going to eat this all. You can have the drum." And I waited, and I said, "Well, just let me try it." And the chicken, when I told the chef, I mean, you remember what I said to him? I was like, "I don't know how you keep fried chicken so moist, but the fried chicken was phenomenal. I mean, he kept it moist. It was fresh. You could tell everything was fresh. You could tell the grits were fresh. The shrimp were fresh. I mean, it was just really cool. And, you don't meet those type of people nowadays because everything is so, corporate, or people are kind of standoffish when they want to talk to people that they don't know. So really cool for him to come out there, and you could tell he was doing it cool. I mean, we didn't get to hit that taco place, but he also owns, what's the name of that taco place?
Bird Rock Taco.
Yeah. Yep. So he hits that. We'll give him a shout out on that too. But it was just really cool. And, Saturday was cool too because we did Lakeland, and then we were able to go to a really cool brewery called Dissident, Dissent. Yep. And the cool thing about that is in Lakeland, Plant City area, they have the Strawberry Festival going on. So when we went to that brewery, they had 5 or 6 strawberry beers, and that was really cool to go to. So just hitting a lot of local areas and a lot of local spots. It was just really, really cool, really, really refreshing. And it just, like I always say, it's easy to be nice, and those guys were nice. We were nice, having a great time.
Super nice. The one thing, this is kind of sad to bring up. I don't want to turn this into a sour note, but you just got me thinking about when you said nice. Think about some of the ugly stuff we see at sports nowadays. Where people get fights in stands, even at like little league games, you get parents fighting and bickering. We've been to countless spring training games now. Everybody's in a good mood, man. And there's a lot of people from opposing teams because it's spring, people on spring break. They might be from out of town, that kind of thing. Everybody's getting along, man. Everybody's just having a good time. I mean, you don't see any of that other just BS crap out there.
Yeah. So it was just really cool. And, talk about baseball, the 2 games that we saw, we'll have a huge baseball show here probably maybe not next week, but the week after. But I do want to touch on the Pirates. I mean, this kind of it's going to be funny for you a little bit, but Saturday we did our little special thing where you pick a player, and you picked the young catcher named Henry Davis. He was the number 1 overall pick in, I want to say, 2021, and he's probably in line to be the starting catcher. He roped a big home run in the 6th inning.
He did.
And then on Sunday, we're getting ready for the game. O'Neal Cruz, he's a stud. He was going to be a stud last year. He was sliding in the home plate and dislocated his, I want to say his arm, his shoulder finger area, and he was out for the whole year. But he was online to have a big year last year. So we're settling into the game. I pick O'Neal Cruz, you pick Armando Sosa, the shortstop, and we're getting in right field. And 2 pitches into the game, my boy O'Neal Cruz hits a home run. And then next at bat, hits another home run. And then I don't know if you saw my text earlier, he hit another home run today.
I
So
did see it, yeah.
they might be one of my sleepers this year when we do our baseball show because they got a lot of young talent, and they're up and coming.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point out the Pirates.
I wanted to give you your due. We
Yep.
I won our little friendly bet Saturday. You won Sunday, which was awesome. On Sunday, we didn't even have drinks in our hand yet, and your guy already
I
went.
know. I remember I was just like, oh, bro.
Can't make it up, man. Just cannot make it up. Do you remember? How about your boy who hit the grand salami? Do you remember
Yeah,
that?
Roger Clemens' son.
Yeah.
And it was actually pretty cool, too, to point about it. We were my brother's father-in-law was there, and he let us sit down there. He's literally right off the field. So we were able to watch that grand slam right in front of us, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And, yeah, Roger Clemens, Cody. Yeah, I think you said, do one for Big Raj. And then the next swing, he hits a grand slam. So
Yep.
He heard you. So that was
another thing that you just can't make up, man.
You can't. It's just, that goes people being nice. I mean, I was just going over to say hello, and he's like, oh, my friends aren't here. Why don't you sit for like an inning and a half? And we sit right there for an inning and a half. And, just talking about people just being nice and friendly at spring training games. I mean, obviously he's somewhat a family, but still he could have just easily said, hey, how's it going? And then we go about our way, but we sat for a little bit. So just wanted to shout out to this. The whole weekend was just awesome. Awesome stuff.
It really was. It just real quick before we maybe switch gears and we'll be wrapping up in a little bit. I'm looking at the standings now. I don't know if you put much stock into it, but a couple things stand out to me. Our good buddy Eric, huge White Sox fan. I asked him this weekend if he thought his boys were going to be any good, and he just kind of shook his head and said no. So I trust his opinion and his honesty. And sure enough, they're 4-13. They look like they got the worst record right now, unfortunately. So see if that's a precursor and if that stays true. And as we talked about, just a couple of the moves that the Dodgers made, obviously bringing in Ohtani. They're 13-4, so it just looks like they might have one of those lineups that is going to be tough to beat. The Orioles are 15-3. They were I think, one of the teams that I picked to not quite have as good of a season as they had last year. But the other one that stands out to me is our local team, the Rays. They're last in the Grapefruit League. They're sitting at 4-11. I don't know if that's worth reading into. Do you think it has anything to do with
No, not at all. You can't really read too much into spring training. I mean, me and you have been going to spring training for a very, very long time. The main dudes only play 4 or 5 innings. So a lot of these guys get, guys trying to make the team. So you can't put too much stock into it. I mean, all you can really see is just how guys are playing, like my dude O'Neal Cruz. I mean, 4 home runs. I mean, you just got to look and see how the major guys are playing, and you got to make sure for no injuries. And I don't know if you were going to touch on it, but I mean, we're a sports show, so I got to touch on it. I don't know if you saw my boy Garrett Cole. He went for a MRI.
That's where I was going next.
I'm going to be true to my people, man. We're a sports show, so I got to touch every type of sports. But yeah, he went for an MRI, and it's looking like he's not going to start the season as the opening day starter. We haven't gotten the results yet, but what it's looking like is probably maybe miss a start or two and take a little longer. That's what I'm hoping and praying for, because I was texting with another Yankee fan who lives in New York. And he actually said, if we lose him, we're dead. I mean, that was our horse. A couple stats on him from last year. Obviously, he won the Cy Young, but he pitched 50 more innings than anybody else on the Yankees rotation last year. So you think about it, 50 divided by 9, that's almost 5.5 games. So he pitched 5.5 games more than anybody else on the Yankees rotation. So it's just really just puts it the workhorse that he is, the stud that he is. So I'm really, really hoping that it's just maybe a tired arm or a tired elbow, and it's nothing crazy, because, like I said, if he goes out, we're done, Zeno, because that's our dude.
That was going to be my question. So it's not Tommy John.
No, they don't. I mean, they don't know the results yet, but what Aaron Boone said, it's most likely he's not going to be the opening day starter. So that means he'll be on the DL. I'm still calling it the DL instead of the IL. So that means he might start it on 10-day DL. So
did it? I briefly heard Boomer and Gio this morning, and they were talking about something. I think it was in reference to the Yankees. They were being a little cynical. They were talking about like you said, like tired arm or spring training arm, something like that. Like, and it's kind of a joke. Like, how could a guy already be?
Oh, I know.
Exhausted from spring training? But is that what it is? Like, how does something like this go unnoticed until now? Like, did he?
So another article that I read is what it sounds like he's having a hard time recovering from starts, meaning I guess when he's going to do another bullpen session, his arm is tired or his elbow, he's feeling something. So what Garrett Cole said, I mean, he knows his body like probably almost as good as LeBron James, Michael Jordan back in the day. I mean, this guy is a top-notch athlete. So what I'm putting it as, if there is something, he wants to get ahead of it and not let it linger to where if something's bad, he can maybe he can rest for a little bit and avoid anything. But I mean, I'm not jumping to any conclusions. I know Aaron Boone's not jumping to any conclusions. I'm just hoping and praying it's nothing crazy because, like I said, he's our stud. He's our workhorse. Also, I don't know if you saw Aaron Judge went for an MRI and it came back clean. So what he said was it was in his ab area, and he said that he's been swinging the baseball bat since November, and he just said that his abs are a little sore. Nothing to do with an oblique, just like a ab core injury, and he'll be able to go end of the week. But he just said that just from swinging since November, his body, I guess, was getting a little sore, which kind of a weird way to put it. But, I'm going to take him as his word because he's pissed off about last year with missing all that time for his foot. So, yeah. I mean, he was pushing in the work. So I'm hoping and praying that it's nothing crazy. But like I said, his MRI came back clean, so that's good.
Yeah, so. You definitely can't afford to lose him as well. I mean, those are your two probably best players. I mean, on both sides.
We got Juan Soto. Juan Soto's killing it in the spring this year so far, so he's a stud. But we need both those guys. But we'll just keep our fingers crossed and hope nothing crazy. But like I said, I needed to touch on that because we're a sports show, so I had to beat you to it.
Yeah. No, I wasn't going to let you escape without mentioning.
Oh, I know you weren't. That's why I got you to it, man.
If you didn't bring it up, that's where I was going next. So.
I know.
I like it. So we're at the hour mark. We usually try to keep our shows kind of condensed now, make them consumable for folks. But before we wrap up, I wanted to talk just briefly, Dan, about UFC 299.
Yeah,
we both watched that this past weekend. When we were together. Really, really enjoyable from my perspective. I had an idea of some of the fighters, what they were capable of. We looked at some of their records. I kind of called one of them. I nailed it last show. I talked about the Michael Page fight and Kevin Holland.
Yeah, you did. And I was all big on Kevin Holland. Yeah, you were big on the 22-2 record or 21-2.
I was looking at his record. Yeah, I mean, it went to decisions, so it's not like it was anything.
That was crazy. A good fight too. It was a good fight.
It was a good fight, and I just Michael Page held his own. It was pretty even, but Page came out victorious, so I was pretty happy with that. In fact, the next two, I went and got 3 in a row. I had a feeling about Poirier over Saint Denis.
We both did. I did last show too. We both did.
We were watching it was a game time decision for me. I took the advice of a friend of ours, and I took that fight not to go to a decision. And I saw that Poirier was the underdog. I think it was like plus 135 or something like that. So I put a couple shekels on him to win. And of course, he ended up winning. I think it was round 2. It wasn't looking great for him. The first round and a half or so, he
knocked him out.
I think some scorpion moves, and it just wasn't working at all. And he was not shying away from that. His corner did not want him to they wanted to change up the strategy basically, but he stuck with it. Credit to him. He knows what he's capable of and his strengths better than his corner does. And he bared down and he ended up just kind of KOing Saint Denis with just a crazy kind of, I guess, right hook. It looked like, in my opinion, to the jaw, kind of stunned him. And then I think he had an uppercut or vice versa. There was a couple good shots that just sort of stunned him and knocked him cold. But really, really entertaining fight. Again, obviously, this is for people that are fans of UFC. I know there's some folks out there where it's just not your cup of tea. It's not my favorite, but I'm paying attention to it. I know you've been a fan for a long time, Dan.
Went to a live event
too. Enjoy it. And then the last fight I nailed too. Sean O'Malley, the title fight versus Vera. Really, really entertaining. It went the distance. It went to decision, and O'Malley got it, but he deserved it. It was just it was a show, I think. Even the announcers were saying it was sort of a clinic that he was putting on. I don't want to say he was toying with Vera, but he kind of had his way with him. It looked kind of easy for O'Malley. It didn't look like he was ever in jeopardy of getting KO'd. It didn't look like he was ever in jeopardy of getting submitted. He obviously didn't TKO himself. He didn't do that to Vera, but he was able to go 5 rounds, and it looked like it was kind of a formality for him out there. I don't know if you thought anything different, but that's just kind of how it looked like to me.
I was thinking the same thing, and I mean, I mentioned this last show. We mentioned it on Saturday with Eric, also a big UFC fan. I mean, he was big on being 17-0. I mean, I told you the reason why he lost is because he broke his foot, and that's the only reason why he lost to Vera. So you could tell that he really wanted it. He wanted to. I mean, if he could somehow get back to undefeated, I think in his head he thinks he should be undefeated because that broken foot. I mean, that's the reason why he lost the first one to Vera. But it looked like he just really wanted it more, and it was a really good fight. I mean, I've watched him fight. This is probably the 7th time I've watched him fight, and he really is a good fighter. He's the next big thing. I did watch when he said that he wanted to fly to Spain and fight that guy Tapora, who beat Volkanovski in 298. So that would be a really good fight if that actually happened. But we'll watch and see. But it was a good fight, and I was kind of glad for him because he's Irish and I'm Irish, and we got St. Paddy's Day on Sunday, so raise him up.
Yep, absolutely. So. All in all, man, it was a great weekend of sports.
Oh, hell yeah.
A lot of things going on. I mean, we didn't even get to touch on NHL and NBA, which are both, coming down to the final month or so. And that shows you just all the other things that are going on right now. So highly entertaining. We covered a lot. You got any parting words for the people before we sign off?
I actually do want to touch on some hockey just for about 3 minutes or so, if that.
Shoot.
I want to talk about my Islanders. Obviously, we've talked about them all episodes long. They were on a 6-game or a 5-game win streak, and they got themselves back in the playoffs. I mean, right now they're tied for the last playoff spot with the Red Wings at 72 points, 2 points behind the Lightning and the Flyers, and they still have 1 game at hand with both of them. So technically they're tied. And I just wanted to say, I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. They play good 5-on-5 hockey, and Patrick Waugh's got them playing well, and they still got that core. I mean, I always talk about it. All the old guys, and Barzal, he's finally healthy.
Yeah.
So it really showed. It really showed. I mean, they did well on that road trip. I mean, 7-2 San Jose, 6-1 Anaheim, and they lost last night. But I mean, that's to be known. I mean, back to back, that's hard on the West Coast. And then they play Buffalo on Thursday at Buffalo. Then they're home to Ottawa, and then they go to the Rags, as we like to call them, on Sunday, St. Paddy's Day. So that could be a lovely little win for my Islanders on St. Paddy's Day. So I just wanted to give them some props because that was a pretty impressive. They needed that win streak to get back in playoff attention.
They did. Huge credit to them for doing what they had to do. Credit to your coach, man.
Patrick Waugh, man.
Looks like he's pushing the right buttons. You guys did what you needed to do, and it's not over yet. 18 games left.
But we needed to do what we had to do, like you just said it right there. Yep.
Yeah, you guys are 7-3 in your last 10, and if you flip that script, I look at my Devils; they are 3-7 in their last 10, and that's why your team is in the playoff hunt right now, and my team's not. We're 6 points behind you guys, but you have a game in hand, so it could be 8. And if you think about maybe a month ago when we were talking hockey, I think Devils Islanders were pretty much neck and neck. I think we were up on you guys by maybe 2 points. 4 points.
It was like 2 points. Yep.
And you leapfrogged us because you took care of business. I mean, you guys are playing well, and we're playing like crap. And it's just I'm real bitter, but you guys, huge credit, like I said, to the team. Your big guns I saw were on some streaks like Barzal, Nelson, and Horvat. Like, to me, those are your top 3. Those 3 guys are taking care of business right now. Obviously, you're going to need to get contributions from the rest of your team. The depth has got to kick in. But when you're looking for answers and you need a boost, you got to be able to count on your big guys and hope that the rest of the team follows suit. And you had that going. So I'm happy for you. I hope you guys continue. I'll tell you what, the Red Wings have left a massive opening right now. They have lost
5-game lose streak. Yep. That's why we got back into it. Yeah.
Falling. Because otherwise it looked like they were cementing themselves in the wild card spot. But it looks like, if Philly holds on to that last Metro spot, which is not a guarantee at all, then it looks like the wild cards, 2 spots are going to probably come down to 4 teams: Lightning, Wings, Islanders, Caps. Devils are not in the conversation as far as I'm concerned. The Penguins seem like they're out of it as well, which is kind of crazy.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm pulling for you guys. You guys have done what you needed to do, and it'll be an interesting last month to go.
Yeah, two other things with hockey. I know I said only 3 minutes, but right now the Panthers are playing the Stars, and it's number 1 versus number 1 in the Western Conference.
Yep.
And I want to say last time I saw, I'm looking at it right now, it is 3-0 Stars, and in Dallas. That's a tough one, but the Panthers, like I said, they're a pretty balanced team, so there's really no excuse. I mean, they win good at the home and they win good on the road, so maybe they just needed a slap of reality. And then
Yeah.
the second thing I wanted to mention too, I was doing a little foreshadowing. If somehow my Islanders slip into that wild card, they may be playing the Panthers. So, we'll see. I mean, blood over water. I got to go with my boys, but then I don't know. It's going to be a game time decision, but I got to go with my boys.
Of course. I mean, it's one of those things I can relate. Devils played the Lightning back in 2018.
Yeah, we went to a game. We went to a
We
game.
went to a game. You were there. I wore my red. The
Yeah.
Devils did not win that game. I was disappointed, but Lightning ended up winning the series. So
Yeah. And I also said,
yeah.
I was sorry to interrupt you. I also said, friend of the show, Chris Dolan, any hockey weekend games, pencil me in. I'm going. So
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Yep.
Think about the Stars before we sign off. So I don't play many games, video games these days. Haven't for a long time. But the one game I've always played, growing up, even as a kid. Occasionally now I'll pop it on for some entertainment. Is the EA Sports hockey game. I got the latest one, and I started the franchise mode. And I don't usually like to pick the Devils. I like to just pick another team I don't know too much about. And I decided to pick the Stars. And I progressed through the season quite a bit. I've gotten to know the roster pretty well, and it's just stupid the depth that they have on their team. Guys like Jason Robertson, Jamie Benn,
Pavelski.
Pavelski, Sagan, Dadonov,
Duchesne, Marchman.
Yeah, it's just absolutely crazy the depth they have, and
they still have that one guy from the Bruins who's been there forever, but he's hurt. What's
Tyler Sagan?
Yeah, Tyler Sagan. Yeah, but he's
Sagan's
hurt,
there.
but still, yeah.
They've got on the defensive side, they got Heiskanen. I think they have Lindell. There's just there's a lot of guys that they have. So if you're a hockey fan, you shouldn't be sleeping on Dallas, obviously, because they're atop the standings. But it wouldn't be surprised me at all if they come out in the West and maybe are even hoisting the Stanley Cup come June. So
yeah, didn't the Lightning beat them for their first back-to-backs?
They beat them in the
second. Was it this?
COVID. They beat the Canadiens.
Yeah, and then they beat the Stars. Did they just beat the Stars one of the years?
They did beat the Stars.
Second year.
Second one.
Yeah, that's what I figured. So yeah, they've been around for a little bit, and I mean they got some teams. They got some players. I mean.
Yeah.
So I think that's all I got, my man.
That's all I got. Yeah, a little bit over, but we packed a lot into this show. Again, awesome time to be following sports. No matter what you're into or what you like, there's something going on, which is a lot of fun, and it makes it easy to do a show like this. So,
for sure, definitely.
We hope we provided some good content. Appreciate everybody listening. Check us out and give us a thumbs up, a like on all of our social platforms. We could use the support. So,
yep.
That's all I got. Make sure you check us out next week. We'll see you in a week. But until then, hope everybody's good. Peace out.
See ya.